Lovers.
Lovers.
Touch me, baby, all night long. That's not a song, but
long?
I made it
30
up.
seconds, a minute.
No, if you touch me while I'm sleeping, I'll get mad.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right. So not all night long.
No, because I'm sleeping.
Just for a period of time.
And you'll make me sweaty. Go.
Okay, go.
Okay.
Hey there, friends. So in this video, we're going to talk about our fourth element of our legendary relationship elements, and this one is lovers.
And the pinnacle, the top of the element pyramid.
So if we recap real quick, the first one is you, two happy, healthy individuals, partners, that sort of business side of the relationship, getting the basics done. Covered. And then the third element is friends, truly getting to know each other and being friends again. And then lovers is the fourth one. It's that pinnacle, that true intimacy and that deep connection with each other. So within the lovers element, there are 4 principles. The first one is flirting. So
You're good at this.
yeah. So
Yeah.
what's cool about flirting is that flirting was a lot of what brings couples together in the first place, right?
Right. Courting. Think of it as courting.
Courting, right? It's what it's how you kind of attracted each other to each other. It was through a lot of flirting.
Yeah.
And I think what happens with a lot of couples is that they forget how to, or they forget to flirt with each other as they're married throughout the years. So
they get so busy. Like, let's be honest. Like, we're so busy that we forget. Like, it's not that we want to forget.
Right.
We all, like, we know that we want to, but we start to forget, and then we forget for so long that it becomes awkward.
And so I think the other thing too is that flirting does evolve over time too. So what are some ways couples could flirt with each other if they've been married 10, 15, 20 years? What are the things they can do?
Well, I think the things that you do that are sweet and not, off-putting, because I think sometimes it can be off-putting, right? Like, especially
you have to know your partner.
Right. I think there's an emotional intelligence element to this. You are really good at like pointing out the things about me that you love and appreciate and you find attractive, and grabbing my butt and right? Like, while I'm cooking, like you're affectionate and you snuggle me, and
it's important to know your partner in all of this, right? Because for some, flirting could be sexy texts to each other while the other one's at work. It's knowing what your partner likes and how they want to be flirted with. And
I think that's a conversation, and in the beginning the conversation may be really short and really light, and there's not a whole lot to say because it's uncomfortable in the beginning. Like, this is one that as you develop each element, it becomes easier, right? But you're really good at those little day-to-day things with me. But I remember saying, like, if I'm in a moment of frustration, like, a forced hug is not going to help me. Right? But, like, coming home and hugging me and, squeezing my butt or whatever, I'm like, yeah.
So flirting's important because it keeps that spark going in your relationship and helps to develop and lead to even more deeper intimacy.
Right, and flirting can also be parts of the other elements. Like, if the conversation around flirting is, you know what, flirting for me, because my love language is acts of service, is doing the dishes.
Yeah.
Like that
can be... you not having to think about that helps you to think more about
but
the
maybe
other things.
Like adding a code word to it, or like, hey, we're doing dishes tonight.
I'll be doing some dishes. So
later.
Yes. Vulnerability. Now, vulnerability is an interesting thing. It's kind of it's like popular these days to talk about being vulnerable.
Because Brene is amazing.
Yeah, Brene Brown, and it talks about vulnerability, and I think there is an attraction towards vulnerability, but then there's people I think it's misunderstood. But
it's like weak, or
like you're exposing yourself to being hurt or injured, and honestly that is still there.
True, yes,
right?
very
but true vulnerability comes from feeling into that fear of exposing yourself, but being truly open and honest with your partner. I mean, that's important. So how do couples kind of cultivate a little bit of vulnerability? It's tough. I think people are like, oh, I've heard vulnerability. I understand I'm more vulnerable with my partner, but how do I really do that? You know?
I think that one of the biggest struggles in relationships is falling victim to the surface issues. And it's so easy to go at each other with the struggles that we're having in the moment without dropping into, this is how I really feel.
Yeah.
This is my true, genuine fear. And let's keep it around intimacy and the lover's element of, I struggle to be like relax in intimate moments, you know, from whatever it may be, from either my childhood or previous experiences or something that's happened between you and I, and I'm struggling with that instead of fighting about the surface issue, which is, you know, why do we not do this, or why is this not going on, when really if I like drop in and feel into that space of like what vulnerability is, our deep honesty.
Yeah, it's an authenticity. It's
our truth, and it's so easy to fight about, you know, you're not doing this and I'm not doing this, or you know, you're parenting the kids like that and I'm parenting the kids like that. But really, like, if we drop in and say, you know what, I remember experiencing this as a kid, or I remember experiencing this, or in this moment when you do that, this is really how it makes me feel. Like I feel uncomfortable, I feel inadequate, I feel like whatever it may be. Those things is although some of them may not be topics around intimacy, it's those intimate conversations of authenticity and truth that start to connect our spirits, right? Like our souls, to where it becomes more fluid and intimate when we are experiencing lover moments.
And so the third principle is masculine and feminine energy. And this is another big one. We could probably do a series of videos on masculine and feminine energy. There are entire books written on this kind of stuff. But how do we kind of easily summarize it here within the lover's element? You know, I think of polarity.
Magnets. I think of, polarity magnets. Like there's a positive and a negative force that connect, right, in magnets. And if you have the wrong parts,
they repel each other.
They repel, literally. And in our relationship, my intense masculine was repelling your masculine. Yeah. And so, you know, I wanted to have deep intimacy in our relationship. I wanted to have passion, and yet I was stifling it because I had to control everything. And I had to plan everything, and everything had to be so masculine and intense from my side. And I was emasculating you. You know, I was stifling your masculine, and your lack of structure and masculine and you know, safety made me not feel safe enough to flow.
To feel feminine. And I like how you say that, because there's a great visual, whereas the masculine energy is the banks of the river, and the feminine energy is that flow, right? The feminine energy is allowed to freely create and meander and do its flowy thing, you know, and feel comfortable and safe in being that way. And then the masculine are the banks that say, okay, that's awesome, and we're going to kind of keep you safe, we're going to keep you structured and keep you going down a path, so to speak, but still being free, flowy, and creative. So.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And it's beautiful as you can slowly develop that. And it didn't happen overnight for us.
No.
Yeah, me releasing my stronghold on my masculine was difficult, and I'm still working on it. But the more we both work on our masculine and feminine, the more passionate and connected our lover's element becomes. Which
leads us into the fourth principle of the lover's element, which is sex. So, and in all simplest terms, that's the coup de grace, so to speak, the final pinnacle, the cherry on the top, you know, of this element. And we all know what it is, but what's important about sex is being able, and why we keep this in the lover's element, I mean, obviously, but, and that the lover's element is the fourth of the elements, is that sex can be a really challenging thing for couples to really open up about. Yeah. And the other part about it is that sometimes couples can fall into this sort of trap of complacency when it comes to sex, and they just won't have it, you know. And you and I can periodically fall into that.
Or they'll do it out of obligation.
Yeah, or out of obligation. And so you and I, because we have built the partners and friends elements very strongly, that when we kind of feel like we were falling a little bit out of practice on sex, we can kind of go, hey,
yeah, we got to get back in.
We got to get back in, and it's not
3-day challenge.
And it's not so uncomfortable to talk about 3 day, 5 to 7 day. We make it 5, but either way, we are comfortable enough with each other to say, hey, you know, I really miss this, you know, with
Part
each
of our
other. You know,
relationship.
what can we do to have more sex? And because we've built that relationship together, and it's just known that couples that have and couples that have a healthy sex life are just generally happier and stay together longer.
Right. No, it is. It's healthy, and it's the thing that, you know, we've said this in previous videos. A lot of times we want to jump to. We want to jump to this element. We want to experience the fulfillment of this element thriving without doing the work of the other elements. And the work of the other elements is really what creates the richness in this element. And so, although there's a lot of tips in this video and in this element, you got to go back and you got to build the foundation. It doesn't mean that anything has to be perfect, but someone has to feel, especially women, like we have to, the partnership is the masculine. Like we have to feel that the basics are taken care of. I struggle to be vulnerable in the bedroom if the dishes aren't done and the laundry is piled up.
Yep.
That's just the truth. And that is the majority of feminine women, right? And so it's important to go back. It's important to build on it and to have grace as we go and enjoy it when we get there.
Enjoy the ride. So that's our fourth element, lovers. So if you enjoyed this video, subscribe, get the notifications, and share with your friends.
Yes.
Thanks.